Did you know that soda used to come in reusable glass bottles at the grocery store? From the 1900s all the way through the middle of the 20th century, when you would buy sodas in glass bottles at grocery stores, you would pay a small deposit. Then, when you returned the empty bottle, they'd give you that deposit back. From there, the retailers would send these glass bottles back to the manufacturer, who would inspect, sanitize, and clean these bottles, and then refill them with more of their product to sell again in stores. This wasn't even recycling, this was purely a reuse system, and the same bottle could be refilled 20 to upwards of 50 times before it was discarded. Unfortunately, by the 60s and 70s, companies started doing away with these glass bottles in favor of single-use materials. Things like aluminum cans and, eventually, plastic bottles. And this happened for a few reasons. The first was convenience. For bottling companies, it was simply easier to rely on single-use materials that didn't have to be collected, rather than having an entire logistical department based solely around collecting those bottles, cleaning, sanitizing, and then reusing them again. Shipping costs were also a big factor. You see, both of these are much lighter to ship than a glass bottle, which significantly reduced their costs. And the third reason is the worst of them all: the rise of marketing campaigns that encourage disposable culture. Manufacturers realized how much cheaper it was to rely on single-use products versus ones that were reused, and disposable culture was born. They advertised it as a way to save time to avoid house chores, as a status symbol for higher income people. In a way, they were kind of advertising disposable products as a freedom from tasks that you don't want to do. Honestly, kind of sounds like the AI of the 1970s. Unfortunately, now we're left with a system that produces 580 billion plastic bottles every single year. Less of 10% of those are ever recycled, and millions of pounds of plastic waste end up in our landfills and out in the environment. And it didn't have to be this way. We already had a system that worked for consumers and the planet, but as always, corporate greed came at the expense of our planet's health.